Greetings and welcome to this JCN forum on the spirit of excellence. Excellence is not a gift, but an attitude. Successful people unconsciously strive for excellence. They compete with themselves and refuse to be average. With this as our mantra, JCN is conducting these fora to promote excellence in the Bahamian society and to challenge a new generation of Bahamians to develop an attitude of excellence in our national development. We have assembled an excellent panel of professionals here this evening to address the topic. We are going to hear from Sir Franklin Wilson. We're going to hear from Mr. Gowan Bowe, Mr. Andy Knowles, Mr. Gil Casas, Mr. Chandler Sands, Ms. Gavette Brown, Dr. Chaswell Hanna, Ms. Dina Ingram, Dr. Carlton Watson, and Ms. Renee Burrows. Each of them will make a presentation on the topic on the spirit of excellence. We begin this evening's conversation with the contribution of Mr. Gowan Bowe. Mr. Bowe is the Group Chief Financial Officer for Fidelity Bank and Trust International Limited, including its publicly traded subsidiary, Fidelity Bank Bahamas Limited. He is a former partner and advisory leader for a Big Four accounting firm and has been responsible for some of the largest audit and consulting engagements for private and public sector entities. He has been the recipient of several academic awards and serves in numerous leadership capacities with civic organizations in the Bahamas. Mr. Bowe is a regular presenter and facilitator at seminars and training sessions, as well as a speaker of business and accounting related discussions and fora throughout the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gowan Bowe.
Good evening, Wendall, and thank you for the invitation. When we speak about excellence, and I think your opening remarks said it, that excellence is not a destination, but rather the journey, that it is something you are continually striving to demonstrate, that we in current day have a very materialistic view of the world and look at the end product as something we wish to achieve, as opposed to having an appreciation for what went into developing what you see in an outcome, whether it be a successful sports athlete, whether it be a successful businessman, or simply a successful civic contributor. And it starts with the mindset change in terms of always wanting to do the best regardless of the task being set at hand. From childhood, in terms of your daily chores that may have been assigned to you, whilst begrudgingly being done, you should always seek to ensure that that bathroom was the shiniest one when you left, or when you start to sit down and do your homework, that whilst you may not always be an A student, it certainly was your best effort in terms of putting it through. Excellence in our country, our national development, and where we want to progress is a lot around self-responsibility and accountability. If we take the attitude that everything we seek to do, we do to the best of our ability and seek always to be an etch above the rest, then that turns into self-responsibility to say, if I have not given my best, that I feel that I've shortchanged those around me. But what becomes even more important, if we are consistent in demonstrating excellence in what we do, we will not be accepting of anything less of those around. And when we start talking about national development, it starts, if you will, with the man in the mirror, but it very quickly becomes moral suasion, it very quickly becomes peer pressure to say that if I am not accepting anything less of myself, I certainly will not accept anything less of those who are providing, whether it be a service, a good, or, if you will, a contribution that is being made. And that will allow national development to progress, because what it will say is we are all now working collectively, but with a mindset of demonstrating, doing our best, and being above the rest. And we do so internationally whenever we leave our shores, and we need to make sure that we continue to do that internally. But as I said, starting right from at home, just in the basic of chores that you may be assigned to do.
Thank you, Mr. DeBow. Our next presenter is Mr. Andy Knowles. Andy Knowles is the owner of Swift Swimming School. He has operated Swift Swimming School since 1990. He has over 55 years of experience in the swimming world, quite a feat, Andy, and has produced national record age group swimmers. Mr. Knowles has coached top Olympic swimmers and Olympic finalists. He, of course, has a wonderful program here in the Bahamas, and he was well known as an Olympic participant representing the Bahamas. His desire is to see more Bahamians benefit from swimming. We listen now to Andy Knowles.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Not too sure how I got here this morning. I wrote an article to the press talking about sports and sponsorship, and then next thing I know, I was asked to be here. But what I would like to do is just share a little bit about what I think is involved in excellence from what I'm doing right now, because I believe what we're doing is pursuing excellence. It's based on four thoughts. It's based on a book that was given to me 25 years ago. It's called Living Above the Level of Mediocrity and a Commitment to Excellence. I'm going to just take one or 2 points from that, and I'm going to share a little bit exactly what we're doing to show how I believe excellence can be done in your area of work. The first point that he talks about, Charles Wendall, he says that confronting mediocrity takes thinking clearly. He says it starts in your mind and calls for your commitment. Now, how that relates to what I'm doing right now is we're doing a Let's Swim Bahamas, which is a program working with the government primary schools to where we will teach every government primary school how to swim. And that thinking through in your mind where you have the vision of what you want to do and then making the commitment to do it started in 2006 with this program we're doing right now. We're at the Commonwealth Games for the Bahamas in the short course world, and I saw in Australia, spending 1 week there, where they took a pool like St. John's, like St. Andrew's pool, a 25-meter pool, and they put 3,000 kids through it a week. And I came back home and I started thinking, I'm doing my program at St. Andrew's, and they're using the pool 6 to 8 weeks out of the year. I got Thelma Gibson right next door. We started bringing the kids there, worked out a deal with the school, bring them there, teach them swimming during the daytime. And our vision has grown to where we just renovated the UB pool, and we're doing 5 schools around there. So now we're dealing with 9 or 10 schools, and we have the existing pools in place. We don't have to build new pools, all right? So we could use them, renovate them, and touch all the Bahamians. His second point was overcoming mediocrity means living differently, all right? Living differently. It says seeing beyond the majority and determining what comes first. Seeing beyond the majority. The majority of people want to be mediocre in what they do just to get by. So if you're going to live with excellence, you have to be able to think beyond that, and you have to decide what comes first. That happened with us, with Let's Swim, when we decided to start moving away from the competitive world of coaching, which I'd done for 55 years, going for the Bahamas, the Olympic Games and other things, and Carifta, what have you. To make that move, start looking at impacting our Bahamian youth with swimming lessons and teaching them to swim. Because when we go into schools right now, we're starting Stephen Dillett next week. We just finished 5 primary schools. We have 100 kids in the school, not 1 kid could swim. So we've decided, okay, we're gonna start moving away from that, and then we had to decide what would be first, because I can't do both of those full time. It looks like I'm 25, right? So just being able to move on and be able to handle it, we had to make a decision what was the most important. So we made the decision what came first was teaching Bahamians to swim. His third point is combating mediocrity requires fighting fiercely. And he had 2 points. There's a lot of points under here, Rich, but I just highlighted this one. This is something that is so important. It says, winning the battle over greed and becoming a model of joyful generosity. Winning the battle over greed and becoming a model of joyful generosity. You know, when people look at what you're doing, and if they sense you're doing it out of a heart and a love and a compassion to really help, people will give towards that cause. We started a foundation relating exactly what we're doing now, Let's Swim Bahamas. Started a foundation about 7 years ago. We've gone around to the Bahamian public, we've gone around the corporations, say, look, this is what we're doing. We're teaching kids to swim free, we're giving them bus rides free, and they've been a part of that. And so when you do that, and you don't have to be greedy that, okay, this is for me, I'm gonna walk away with money, you're just doing it because you're meeting a need. God honors that, and he supplies the need. And we've been generous and being able to give scholarships and stuff. This is not really an advertising thing, but I just want to highlight, if you're talking about excellence, we do this where it's not just a kid turning around getting to the wall. You have to finish 10 stages to where you get a certificate and you know how to swim. So we do that with all the kids. We have it structured, we know where they are, we know where they're going. For all of you guys that love bathing suits, Let's Swim Bahamas, all right? These kids, see, we have things that everybody looks the same, everybody is not in baggy shirts and stuff. We have a goggle, caps, all of this is part of the program of excellence. And so that's really important. The last point he makes, dealing with living above mediocrity, he says resistant mediocrity includes standing courageously. And that is important because when we made the move to get out of competitive swimming last year, we decided, okay, we're dropping it completely. We had a lot of parents saying, what are you doing? They're mad at us and upset with us. And so it takes a lot of courage. It takes sticking with what you believe. And so we're able to do that. And so now we're doing it full time. Our goal is to touch every Bahamian kid in primary school and teach them to swim within the next 10 years. So to me, that's what excellence is, when you stick at something and do it right.
Thank you so very much, Andy. Our next presenter is Gil Casas, who is a proven leader, a serial entrepreneur and philanthropist with a strong background in finance stemming from his high school training at Queens College, locally, where he served as head boy, then receiving a National Merit Scholarship to obtain his Bachelor of Commerce from the University of Toronto, where he served as president of the Student Union, representing more than 12,000 students, and from a Master of Liberal Arts in Finance from Harvard University, where he served as executive co-chair of the Harvard Leadership Conference and vice president communications of the campus-wide Harvard Graduate and Professional Student Government, representing all graduate students. He has a very long bio. Ladies and gentlemen, Gil Casas.
All right, well, it's such a pleasure to be here and to speak about this very important topic about excellence. The Bahamas, we are a small country, but we are not small-minded. And we have such potential that we cannot allow it to go to waste. And the previous speakers really resonated with me because they spoke about the need to not accept mediocrity and the need to really put up a fight. And so there's a speaker who I like to listen to, Jim Rohn. He says, life is about the fight to keep death at a respectable distance. And so we have to fight to protect our country, we have to fight to protect our livelihoods, and we have to fight to ensure that we live lives that in our minds are worth living. The three things that are philosophies underpinning my core set of beliefs. The first has to do with curiosity. The second has to do with a spirit of bravery. And the third has to do with confidence. So when we look at the first, curiosity, you really have to be willing to challenge the status quo. You know, Apple put it best, you know, the people who change the world, you know, are those who believe that they can. And so you have to really be willing to challenge the notion that the way things are right now are the way that they should be and the way that they always be. They always have to be. Now, in order to do that, you have to really regulate your self-conversation. You have to ask yourself questions about why not me? Why not the Bahamas? Why do we have to be a follower? Why can't we be a leader? And the Bahamas actually is positioned to be a leader in many spaces, which after the philosophies, I can get into those spaces. But we really have to not just accept, doing the satisfactory level of attainment, but really challenge ourselves, which really takes a lot of self-responsibility to go beyond the surface. And for students in school and for persons across different careers, we really have to go beyond what's at the surface, what might be unassuming, because the new inventions and the new things that we need to champion have no roadmaps. And we have to be curious, and we have to really delve deep to be able to be thought leaders and to drive solutions. Now, the spirit of bravery, that means that you have to go, again, in uncharted territory. And you have to be willing to fail. There's so many times where I got to the next level by jumping into the deep end of the pool. And you have to, he's a swimmer instructor here, you have to actually force yourself to swim. And you cannot be afraid to fail. You cannot be afraid to get out there on the field. Don't live life in the bleachers. I know some of you are terrified to leave your jobs or maybe pursue an idea, or terrified to go and run a race that's been in your mind to do. But you have to actually get outside of your comfort zone. It pays off tremendously. Everything you want is outside of your comfort zone. And the third is confidence. You have to believe that you're royalty. You have to believe that you're worth it. And you have to get away from people who basically are the elevator that doesn't take you up, but that take you down. Regulate what you watch, what you read, what you put in your mind. And, it's not just so much about feeling good. You have to actually execute. Almost everyone almost does something, but if you really believe in yourself, you have to execute and make it happen. Confidence is something that you do one brick at a time. And once you accomplish a small task and you accomplish another small task and you keep doing that, what you'll find is you create, a great wall of confidence over time. So one step at a time, I think we can do it. Now, this country, if I were to summarize why I think that we're poised to win, we really have an excellent set of talent and resources here in the Bahamas. I work in the technology spaces and the financial spaces, and the ideas that we have and the curiosity that I'm seeing is unprecedented. But we just need to execute. We need to leverage technology. We can be right here in the Bahamas and touch the world. We need to invest in one another, which takes togetherness, meaning that we have to pool our resources to support arts and entertainment and innovation, and so that we're not a tenant in our own home. We can't always believe that the best is abroad. The best is actually right here. The solution is not outside, but the solution is inside. And so with that, I want to say that I encourage everyone to begin, work hard, and I do believe we're the best, beautiful country in the world, and we will win. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Casas. Next presenter, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. DeSans. He has been an executive and board member in the maritime sector for just over 12 years. He brings 30 years of banking and finance, that's retail, private and international, accounting, internal audit, compliance, and insurance experience from leadership positions held in several national and international companies. Currently growing Aquamarine Agency Limited and Bahamian seafarers and recruitment service with a 25-year vision to place some 5,000 Bahamians on the local, national, regional, and international vessels. He is one of the persons involved in the development of Campbell Shipping Company Limited, a ship technical management company in Nassau, Bahamas, and a crew manning company in India. Today, Campbell Shipping Company Limited, Bahamas, and Campbell Shipping Private Limited, India, manage the day-to-day operations of 17 international bulk cargo ships and employs over 650 sea and shore staff, including 20 Bahamian seafarers. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chandler B.T. Sands.
Good evening, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Excellence. It's an amazing word, but has undertones of simplicity. I see excellence every day as I drive into work at about 11 o'clock. The first essence of excellence is the young Bahamian man on the corner selling peanuts. Consistency, quality, attention to what he does. In my mind, that is excellence. I saw excellence this morning demonstrated in its fullness when the young man came to my house every morning at 7 a.m. to detail my car. Consistently, with pride, he does the job. So excellence in the Bahamas is something that we see periodically, but we need to find a way that it becomes the way of life, that it becomes systematic, that it becomes something that the entire nation is moving systematically to the sound of that drum that beats excellence. My grandmother told me 40 years ago, she said, son, you're leaving to go off to university. Remember, as a Bahamian, you must be better. You must be better. Somehow it seems that that consistent reminder that we must be better or strive for excellence has dissipated. I am concerned with providing 5,000 Bahamian workers to the maritime sector over the next 20 years. And where does that my journey for excellence starts? It starts by looking into the pantry of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And you would say, pantry. Well, I want you to dream with me for 2 minutes. If you were to think of the cupboard or pantry that you had at home and you decided that for the next 2 months, you will not go to the food store. You will make creative meals out of what you have in your pantry. And this is what we have done in the maritime world. We have gone to the pantry of the Bahamas and see, because of our positioning, what opportunities do we have here? We speak a lot about hospitality and the emergence of Bahama and the 5,000, 7,000 jobs. But you know there's 18,000 opportunities every week on Prince George Wharf. 18,000. The week we did the survey, there was 13 Bahamians. 13 Bahamians taking opportunity. So what we have decided to do is we have decided to systematically come up with a system that would make Bahamian talent desirable to those who offer those opportunities. So what does it mean? It means that we are developing a plan of excellence, where the only thing we would have to sell is our ability to be better than anyone else. So ladies and gentlemen, we have created a school called the LJM Maritime Academy. where we have taken young Bahamians from among us, and we have decided on a 3-year program where we're going to develop them in every aspect of what is necessary to produce excellence. I believe excellence is rooted in honor. If those who will produce excellence are taught how to honor and how to be honored, then it becomes a natural process. So we think that with young Bahamians, this systematic process of moving young people, and the panelists before me touch on it, giving value, giving purpose, being honored. So the 3-prong of what we're doing is developing, rebuilding, presenting honor, and then presenting to them that this is a win-win situation. If you honor me, I learn to honor you, we will produce excellence. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sands. We're going to take a break here on our program, The Spirit of Excellence on JCN. We'll come right back.